ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله وأحسن هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. As we know that we are in a month of Rabi' al-Awwal, which is a time in which you'll find that the non-Muslims are practicing an innovation, and likewise the Muslims similarly are following them in that by practicing another innovation. As we know, in Ya Ma'ash al-Ikhwa, I just said in the khutbah, and the last thing I quoted was شَرَّ الْأُمُورِ مُحْتَثَاتُهَا. Notice the Prophet ﷺ would repeat this over and over and over again, warning his ummah against newly invented matters. He says, شَرَّ الْأُمُورِ مُحْتَثَاتُهَا. The most evilest affairs are the newly invented matters. The newly invented matters. The ones that are introduced in the religion, that are unprecedented, that which Muhammad ﷺ did not teach the ummah, nor did the companions of the Prophet ﷺ practice it either, nor those who followed them with ihsan. As we know, bid'ah, or the innovations, are very evil. The Prophet ﷺ said they are the most evilest of affairs. As we know that bid'ah and innovations are more beloved to Iblis than ma'asi. They are more beloved to shaitan himself than sin. As we know, the previous religions from before, when Allah Ta'ala sent to them that pure revelation and those pure books that were untampered with at one point in time. The reason why they fell into what they fell into today, and what you see what they are practicing today, and why their religion became distorted and altered, and it's not in its purest form in which how Allah has sent it down to those previous nations, is because of innovations. Innovations is the one, or the affair that has destroyed all of those religions. Unprecedented affairs, newly invented matters, keep giving new affairs and new affairs and new affairs until it became totally something that is totally in contrast to what the prophets had taught. So we know, Ya Ma'ash al-Ikhwa, the reasons why those religions have been changed, whether it be from Judaism or Christianity, totally changed. Totally in contrast to what Musa ibn Imran had taught. And also Isa ibn Maryam alayhi salatu wasalam, Jesus the son of Mary, likewise had taught his followers. So these, Ya Ma'ash al-Ikhwa, we know the destructive, or the thing that have brought all those religions down, all those religions, and why they be changed and altered because of newly invented matters. And all of the prophets, this is something that is agreed upon with all of them, all warned against newly invented matters, not to practice these affairs, because there will be a result, number one, of the religion changing. It'll be altered, it'll be distorted. And number two, it will be a result of you coming on the day of resurrection and your actions will be unaccepted. That's another reason why innovations is highly reprimanded and highly dispraised, because on the day of resurrection, Allah Ta'ala will look to your actions to see if those two prerequisites have been fulfilled. And those prerequisites is first of ikhlas lillahi ta'ala, which is to be sincere for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And likewise, it has to be in accordance with the sunnah, or that which is the prophetic traditions of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and likewise to those followers prior, even the followers of Jesus, the son of Mary, the same prerequisites have followed with them at that particular time. That if they wanted that action to be accepted for Allah, in front of Allah, it had to have ikhlas in it, and it had to be in accordance with His sunnah and what He taught them. Hence, on the day of resurrection, they will come and they will find that their action will be rejected and is unaccepted due to one of those actions have not been fulfilled, or those prerequisites have not been fulfilled. So you see that the bid'ah of what you know that the Muslims practice these days called bid'at al-mawlid, which is the innovation of what they celebrate, which is called the Prophet ﷺ's birthday. You will notice that the origin of a lot of deviant sects from the Muslims, that the bid'ah that they're upon or the innovation that they practice, all came from a non-Muslim. Majority of them, you'll find that the origins come from a non-Muslim. Introducing this, and the Muslims became beguiled and fooled and tricked until they started following it. For example, the belief that Allah Ta'ala is not above the heavens, that He's not above the Arsh, that He's not above His throne, He's not above the seven heavens, that initially came from a Jew. His name was Labid ibn al-A'sam. As Labid ibn al-A'sam was the one who did magic upon the Prophet ﷺ. If you notice in the Isnad, yes, a person would say no, it's Jahm ibn Safwan. No, if you look to the Isnad starts with Jahm ibn Safwan, then it goes back to Ja'd ibn Dirham, then it goes back to Talut, then it goes back to Labid ibn al-A'sam, al-Yahudi alladhi tuhima bi'annahu qad sahara an-nabiy sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The one who was accused of doing magic upon the Prophet ﷺ, he was the one that started the bid'ah that Allah Ta'ala is not above the heavens. And He's not above the Arsh. Rather, He's in the creation is in Him. Which is a filthy, disgusting belief. That Allah Ta'ala be inside of impurities and things which are impure. And also likewise, for example, the bid'ah of the Qadariyah. The bid'ah of the Qadariyah likewise. The belief that the Qadar, that Allah Ta'ala has no will of His creation, that the affair is unuf. That the affair is mustatnaf min jadid. That you create your own destiny. Allah has no will over the creation. That bid'ah, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, was started by Ma'bad al-Juhani wa Ghilan al-Dimashqi. They initially took that bid'ah from Susun. He was a person from the Ahl Kitab. He was a person from the people of the book. Then it got passed on to Ma'bad al-Juhani and Ghilan al-Dimashqi until the Muslims started practicing it. Then likewise what happened with the Shia and this disgusting act that the Muslims likewise follow the non-Muslims in, which is also likewise protesting. Protesting similarly started with, as we know, the group with the deviant sect called the Shia, the Rawafid, was started by the Jews. The deviant sect, the Rawafid, was started by the Jews. And then the Jews, likewise, when they started the deviant sect called the Shia and the Rawafid, the reason why the non-Muslims started these deviant sects, because they knew that the strength of the Muslims came in their belief when they was unified upon one belief. And they were unified upon one aqidah and one methodology. They know that's where their strength lied in. And they knew that once they were able to taint that and put inside of the Muslims the seed of tafarruq, of being divided into different creeds and different sects and different beliefs, they ultimately defeated them. So they planted this seed within the Muslims, and the Muslims became beguiled and they followed it, being stupid and following the non-Muslims in these type of practices and these beliefs. So you'll find, for example, that the deviant sect from the Shia, they are the first people that started the bid'ah of protesting. If you go back to the history, likewise, the Shia and the Rawafid are the one who started protesting. And likewise, from the bid'ah, likewise, what we want to talk about today is the bid'at al-mawlid, the innovation of the mawlid, of the birthday of the Prophet ﷺ. And I'm not afraid and shy to say that I took this information from our brother, or some of our information from our brother Abu Khadija, Abdul Wahid, Hafidhullah wa ra'ah. As he even gave some good information and I added on to it, a lot of information, I mixed it, walillahi alhamdu wal minna. But a lot of the information that I'm going to give you is from him, Hafidhullah. That he talked about, and he referred back to Shaykh al-Islam in Majmu' al-Fatawa. Where Shaykh al-Islam Taymiyyah rahimahullah, Ahmad ibn Abdul Halim, Taqiyuddin, Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahmatullah alayh, wajazallahu anna wa wajazallahu anna wa an al-Muslimin wa an al-Islam khayr al-jaza. وضاعف الله في مثوبته وقدس الله روحه. Listen to what he says in Majmu' al-Fatawa. He said, taking particular occasions that are not reported in the legislation of the Quran and the Sunnah, such as certain nights in the month of Rabi' al-Awwal, which is said is the birthday of the Prophet ﷺ. And I think the origin of the Muslims celebrating the Prophet ﷺ's birthday, I think it's self-explanatory where they got that from. I think everybody in the room probably already understands that, since December the 25th is right around the corner. Taking particular occasions, he goes on to say, taking particular occasions that are not reported in the legislation of the Quran and the Sunnah, such as certain nights in the month of Rabi' al-Awwal. This is Kalam Shaykh al-Islam. He says, what it is said is the birthday of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He says, of certain nights in Rajab, and on the 18th of Dhul Hijjah, or the 8th of Shawwal, which is entitled by same as the Eid of the pious ones, of the Awliya, they so-called say. Listen to what Shaykh al-Islam says. He says that all of these are innovations which are not recommended or performed by the Salaf al-Salih. Who are the Salaf al-Salih? The Sahaba, the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. It was not performed by them, and Allah, the most perfect, knows best. There was a scholar from the past. His name was Muhammad ibn al-Hajj al-Abdari, who died 737 after the Hijrah. He stated and said, and from what they have introduced from the affairs of bid'ah, of innovation, along with their belief that this is from the greatest of the acts of worship and the most manifest of signs. It was the practice in the month of Rabi' al-Awwal. Rabi' al-Awwal is now, right everyone? The birthday of the Prophet ﷺ, and it encompasses a body of innovations and forbidden acts. He says, and from these innovations and forbidden deeds is practiced on this day. See, meaning that he's saying that not only do they suffice by practicing this evil matter or this innovated practice, which is more beloved to shaitan than sin. He said not only do they do that, but shaitan not only allows them to fall into this act, but they add on to it other futile and other acts that are in opposition to our religion. This is what he says. He says their utilization of singers and performers with musical instruments. So he's clarifying what everyone, that music is haram. There's no ikhtilaf in the issue when Allah and His Messenger have declared an affair. For verily their statement takes precedence over anyone who it is. Ka'inan man kan. And how the understanding of the Sahaba, if you look to how the Sahaba understood certain ayat, they understood the ayat that musical instruments is the voice of shaitan. Musical instruments is sawt of shaitan. So even him and himself, notice that Ibn al-Hajj is regarding music to be unlawful. Listen what he goes on to say. Their utilization of singers and performers with musical instruments. So look, may Allah have mercy upon us and you, at the opposition to the pure sunnah, how it is disfigured and made unsightly and dragged into other forbidden affairs. Do you not see that they oppose the pure sunnah and perform the birthday of the Prophet ﷺ? They do not simply limit themselves to the act only itself, rather they increase upon it with numerous futile deeds, meaning other evil actions. As has been mentioned, so joy and happiness is for one that tightens his handhold and following the book and the sunnah and the path that connects to that, and that lies in following the salaf that have preceded. And may Allah be pleased with all of them, because they were knowledgeable of the sunnah than us, more acquainted with the sayings and had better understanding of the affairs. Now listen to them. Now we're going to go back to the origins of the Bid'at al-Mawlid. Who is the one that introduced it? Like we talked about the Bid'at al-Jahmiyyah, and we talked about the Bid'at al-Qadariyya and its origins, and the Shia likewise and other than them. Where is the origin of the one who introduced this newly invented matter of practicing the Mawlid, the birthday of the Prophet ﷺ? Listen to what he goes on to say. The first people to innovate, and this is from our brother Abu Khadija, Hafidhullah. He said the first people to innovate this celebration of the birthday of the Prophet Muhammad was the tribe of Bani Ubayd al-Qaddah. Bani Ubayd al-Qaddah. Ubayd al-Qaddah, you know who he was? He was a Batini Ismaili Shi'i. Batini Ismaili Shi'i. And just as a side benefit that we know, that likewise the Shia and the Rawafis, as Shaykh al-Islam Taymiyyah also likewise mentioned that tremendous treatise entitled Minhaj al-Sunnah, that he said that the first people that introduced grave worshiping and worshiping the dead likewise were the Shia. As the Shia likewise started this evil bid'ah. And not only is it bid'ah, but it's polytheism. That which nullifies your Islam, paganism. And he says, and those who took from them was the Sufiya. He said that's the reason why you'll find that a lot of the practice of the Sufiya, it has rafd. Meaning it's from the practices of the Rawafid and the Shia. That they took a lot of their practices from them. The grave worshiping was started by them. And like we talked about, the Shia were initially started from the Yahud, from the Jews. If your people would study and take time out and stop using their feelings and their whims of how they feel and look to the facts, you would stay far away from this nonsense. And stop using your feelings to be the judge of affairs and to look to the information, the established authentic facts. And make your argument and your proof and your guide that instead of your feelings. As Ubayd al-Qaddah, he was the Shi'i, Batini, Ismaili. Those who call themselves the Fatimiyun, if you look to the history of it. And the Fatimiyun is those who they ascribe themselves to Ali ibn Abi Talib and Fatima bint Muhammad sallallahu Zuran wa Buhtanan. Falsely ascribe themselves to them. And in actuality, they are not ascribed to Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu or Fatima bint Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ascribing themselves to them. And he says they appeared during the Abyssinian Khilafah of Bani Abbas. And they ruled Egypt during 360 after the Hijrah, onwards for 2 centuries. And they were a sect of Shiites. These are the people who started the Mawlid. They're a group of Shiites. And as a person, brother just sent me just showed me a picture the other day of the Shiites. They have on the back of their clothes, cursing Abu Bakr, cursing Umar, cursing Aisha, cursing Shia, saying the Latin of Allah be upon them. That's the people who you want to follow? Really? Truly? For any Muslim that has any ghira, jealousy for this religion and have jealousy for the Sahaba, because they are the greatest of creation after all the prophets and messengers, will see that they would never want to take a sunnah to be followed from those type of people. And the bid'ah of the Mawlid was started with the Batini Shi'i Ismailis. It says in Egypt 360, the Shiites were known as the Ismailis due to their connection with Ismail Muhammad ibn Ja'far al-Sadiq. And Ja'far al-Sadiq was from the Salihin, rahimahullah, but they lied upon him, the Shia and the Rawafid. They lied upon him. And then we know that's their sunnah likewise, because they have what they call the taqiyya. The taqiyya which justifies for them to lie in any situation at any given time. If the situation or circumstance becomes severe, they can lie to you to your face with a smile, looking real sincere. It's because that's their belief. It's evil. He said the Shiites are known as the Ismailis due to their connection to the Ismail ibn Ja'far al-Sadiq. And it's for this reason that they are called the Ismailis. They had many opposition to the Islamic belief and Islamic monotheism of Tawheed, meaning that of the unification of Allah and His worship. And they committed clear acts of belief, meaning Ubayd al-Qaddah, to the point where their leaders, now listen to this, the leaders of these people who are from the Ubayd al-Qaddah, he said their leaders claimed divinity. Isn't that paganism and polytheism? They claimed divinity. They declaimed of divinity for themselves, and they were worshipped by their followers. And from them was the ruler Ubayd al-Qaddah, from the Ubaydiyun. The Muslim historians mention that the real origins are far away from Fatima Ali. They are not ascribed to them whatsoever. Listen to this. Listen to this part. The origins of them lie with the Magian fire worshippers of Persia. The Magian fire worshippers of Persia. That's why, brothers, just to sum it up, just follow the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ and you'll be far away from all this nonsense. Prophet ﷺ said there's 2 Eids, Eid al-Adha, Eid al-Fitr. You're good. Now, once you go outside of that, now you're subjecting yourself to all this. He saw it's appropriate to know that they used to believe that Allah is dwelling in His creation. Wahdatul wujud. This is another from their beliefs. And the concept that the revelation also has an esoteric meaning, meaning it has a hidden meaning. And that the hidden meaning is only for their so-called leaders, which is called the knowledge, or what they call the Batiniyah. That the Qur'an or the text from the Quran and Sunnah has a hidden meaning that's only known to certain people. And which you'll find that the ulama of Ahlul Sunnah at that time declared them to be unbelievers because of all of this type of bid'ah. And Allah Ta'ala may keep us far away and protect the ummah from this. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. That's nice, baby. Mm-hmm.